The following program may contain viewpoints and opinions that do not necessarily reflect those of Radio That Doesn't Suck Incorporated or its employees. Welcome to Real Estate Toronto, the radio show about buying and selling real estate in the Greater Toronto Area, with Ora Ross from the Mulholland Ross Real Estate Team. 30 minutes of hot topics and indispensable advice from experienced professionals that work for you. Now, on with the show. Well, we will wish you a Happy New Year. It's been a while since we've talked to you, and so we wanted to say that again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes. And when is the official drop-dead date for saying Happy New Year? When do you stop doing that?
I see. That's a really good question. Is that December 31st of that year until the next? I don't know.
If I don't see you till next December, I will wish you Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
Thought we'd just review the 2015 market. There's been, as you know, a couple of exciting real estate markets in Canada, Toronto especially, and we're going to do a little bit of comparison to Vancouver since those two those two markets, those two cities, really defied everything else that happened right across Canada.
They stuck out.
They stuck out like
sore thumbs.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and then I thought, I don't know if they're sore thumbs. But when we look at the Canadian market as a whole, Toronto and Vancouver just are doing something completely different. Whereas we've got some increases, steady marginal increases across Canada, and in some places drops. We have market drops. We've heard about what's going on in Alberta. We're seeing a 20 to 30% price and activity drop there because of the oil prices and everything. So, so we're going to talk about some fun numbers.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned. You're listening to realestatetorono.com radio.
The music you'll hear on Out of the Blue will be jazz for the most part. No specific styles or genres. Every piece of music is handpicked to deliver quality performances. Out of the Blue can be heard on rtds.ca, live Mondays 1 to 3 p.m., and encore performances Tuesday to Friday, anytime on demand. It's the true spirit of jazz, a touch of everything and then some. Thanks for listening. I'm Larry Green.
Buying or selling a home, condo, or investment property may be one of the largest transactions you'll ever make. It's important to gather as much information as you can, and preferably from experienced, successful professionals. When it comes time to make your move, call the Mulholland Ross Real Estate Team with Keller Williams Real Estate Service at 416-230-8500 or visit www.realestatetorono.com. Whether you're making your first move or selling your much-loved family home, the Mulholland Ross Team offers over 26 years of real estate sales and service across the GTA. Listen every Sunday at 4 p.m. here on Radio That Doesn't Suck to hear the team share advice and information that will assist you with your personal wealth through real estate. Questions or topics you'd like to see covered? Email info@realestatetorono.com or call the Mulholland Ross Team at 416-230-8500. Welcome back to realestatetorono.com radio.
So, lots of homes sold in the GTA in 2015.
Yes.
The Toronto Real Estate Board broke 100,000 sales in 1 year. Actually, 101,000. And I would say that if there had been more inventory, that number would have been higher.
And this is a first. They've never sold that many in years?
No, never broke. I don't think we've ever broken 96,000.
Really?
So this is our first time breaking 100,000. We knew that was happening. We were watching it through the year, and I think in October we were already well over 90, and they were saying, listen, we're going to break 100. 101 and change, yeah.
So typically when you have a lot of inventory, it sort of suppresses prices, does it not? Because it tends to, that's the thought process.
It does. So we have a lack of inventory.
Yeah.
See, we had a huge demand. We had more demand than any time before. So where we've got 101 sales, which is awesome, like I said, had we had more inventory, I think we would have seen more sales. The certainly in places like Alberta, when we talk about Alberta, they've got a massive amount of homes on the market.
Right.
So you can only imagine what's happening to their price point. Buyer can go out and shop between 5, 10, 20 homes that are in their price point in their kid's school district now. Whereas in most places in Toronto, there's usually only 1 or 2 homes available at any given time in a specific targeted neighborhood. So I find a lot of families will purchase based on a specific school and catchment area. And the Toronto District School Board is extremely picky about where you are, right? You've been through that, right?
Been through it.
So if only 1 or 2 homes show up in that school district at any given time, there's really no options. You're buying one or you're waiting for the next one. And when the next one comes up, how many people are waiting for the next one? And that's what we saw all year, right? We saw the bidding wars. We saw the multiple offers. Even when we didn't hold offers and try to create a bidding war scenario, we saw multiple offers show up, and that's just a sample of a number of families or people waiting for a particular type of home in a neighborhood in a certain price range to come up. And you're rarely alone.
So the glut in inventory really didn't have an appreciable impact on the price. It didn't drive it down.
We didn't have a glut of inventory.
Oh, I thought you said because we had so many sales.
Oh, no. Oh. I think if we had more inventory, we would have seen even more sales. I think there was such a demand this year. I mean, our interest rates dropping to 2.5%. I mean, I know I'm going sideways here, but I'm still hearing people going, yeah, but isn't variable better because I can get it at 2.1? And I'm like, oh my God, like really?
Yeah.
For 4 basis points.
Let's talk about 12.1 or 22.1.
But I must say, we saw also, so the other really cool thing we watched happen this year was, so let me just backtrack a little bit. The average price came in at 2015 at $622,000. We had not broken 600 until February of 2015, ever, as an average price of all home types right across the GTAs reported to the Toronto Real Estate Board. So we had never broken 600. We now ended the year at 622. We ended last year at 560.
Wow. That's a major...
566?
Yeah.
So that's a major increase over 12 months. The important thing I like to show people is if you're really tracking these increases, the bulk of the increase, in fact, all of the increase happened between January and May. We peaked in May at 649.
Okay.
So then, of course, we had our seasonal stuff, right? 637, 632. November was 632. December, I think we've got 6. I'll come back to that number for you. I'll find it. 6. Yeah, I'll find it. So really, 609 December ended with, an average of 609. So we peaked in June, and then it didn't drop. People think, oh, the prices drop after the spring. They didn't drop. What happens is that we have different inventory on the market that affects our prices. So we have fewer $8 million, $6 million sales in August. It affects our averages. I can tell you as a realtor on the ground with my buyers, with my sellers, that if I were to say, yes, there was a sort of quiet period this year where maybe I felt a little pushback on price, it would have been in the last 2 weeks of August, the first 2 weeks of September. And that was it. We hit October and the bidding war was back. December was crazy. December felt like May.
I remember talking to you in December, and typically as you get closer to Christmas, it quiets down a bit.
Yeah. No, it didn't. And we had properties where we hadn't even gone to market yet, and we were sitting with 3 offers on the table.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing. That's multiple offers.
And we haven't even gone to market yet. We sent out an email to our agents in our sphere to say this is what's coming, and within 2 days we're getting calls saying we've got offers. So So part of that is likely due to some changes to our mortgage requirements. We used to have the 5% mortgages right across the board. CMHC has announced 5% is still okay on your first 500. After your first 500, they want to see their 10%. So your first 500, 25 down, you're adding another 100,000, you've got to come up with another 10, so not another 5.
It doesn't penalize someone that's getting into a smaller home.
No. Doesn't affect those first-time buyers in the smaller communities, which is great because that is our little engine that keeps everything going.
Yep.
But look at, as long as we've ever been talking, Todd, we've always talked about how the Canadian government and the mortgage CMHC is really trying to put a few things in place that protect us. I know a lot of people out there, and I've spoken to a few realtors with the change, and they're quite upset. They feel it'll knock some of their buyers out of the market. Mm-hmm. A lot of those people have not been around in a shifting market. And I don't want to be a doom and gloomer, but it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's cyclical. It will go up. It will go down. Just in a 12-month period, we watch it go from, we started January with an average price of $552. By May, we're sitting at $649. And by August, we're sitting at $609. So no one can sit here and tell me, no, the prices are always, they're all great prices, but that was a cycle. There's your annual cycle. Now, over the course of years, this market will move around. So I think it's wise that we have some equity in our homes.
So that extra 5% on the balance is just sort of a check to say, are you sure you want to do this? Do you have the wherewithal to do it?
I think it's the wherewithal, and it's also the bank saying, you know what, we need a little more skin in the game from the people because we're putting, the CMHC is really at risk. And, CMHC is a government mortgage, as government insurance program to protect the banks should we default.
Right.
If everybody, you don't even want to know. I don't even know the number. I heard it a while ago. I don't even want to know. If everyone in Canada were to default, what do you think? We'd be shy, like
billions, I would think.
Billions.
Especially since some of these are major investments.
Yeah.
And if you're only putting in 5%, it's like you can walk away from it.
Yeah. So that was some of the exciting stuff. Now, the other thing we saw this year was Gord Downey. Mm-hmm. We all know Gord.
Yep.
Sold his home in the Beaches this year.
He's leaving Toronto, is he? Is he moving?
I don't know where he's going.
They didn't say,
I don't know. No, but I did see the cool video that was made about his home.
I did miss that. I wanted to see that, but I heard a lot about it.
I might have it. I'll share it with you. It was a lifestyle video where you actually saw kids playing hide and seek through the house.
Really?
Yeah, it was very well done.
Wow.
A lot of hoopla was made over that he sold it for $2.23 and that he only bought it for $1.3 10 years ago. Right?
Okay.
But if you think about it, most homes have more than doubled in that 10 years. So, Gord, I don't know, maybe you fell a little shy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You did great.
Yeah, no kidding.
But no one should be too shocked. I mean, he was a famous musician, so it got to the news. But in 10 years, we are watching some of these properties more than double. In fact, I've seen in some places in our city a 5-year double. A couple of years ago, we saw it was 7 years. We're now into a 5-year.
I wonder, though, got about a minute and a half left before we have to go to break. I wonder how many people were bidding on that house because it was Gord's house. I mean, I would have.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think it would have been kind of cool. I'd do the same. If there were a musician that I really liked, I'd probably want to live in their house for a bit.
Well, another house that made it to the news was, of course, the 8-foot wide house. Everybody saw that, I think. It was the skinniest house in Toronto on Shooter Street, and it was selling for about $759. Now, my last information was they did adjust the price a little bit down because it didn't sell that quickly. 8-foot wide house.
Okay, and
you cannot gain weight. 3 floors.
3 floors.
3 floors.
Man, those stairs would be pretty. That's not even the width of a bed, is it? I guess it is.
No. And in the Beaches in the Toronto area, we saw a home that was called the Hillbilly Home. It was known as the home with the hole in the roof and dilapidated porch and the weeds growing, everything. And everyone freaked out that it sold for over $1 million. And the thing to keep in mind, too, is what people are buying now in a lot of these older neighborhoods is they're buying the location. They're buying the land. So whether that home was renovated or not renovated isn't going to make as big a difference as it used to.
Oh, when we come back from break, I have a house for you. I found something. I read something in the paper.
Oh, good.
And
okay.
I think it would be perfect for you.
You're going to sell me a place.
I'm going to sell you a place.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
I'm
You're
ready.
listening to realestatettoronto.com radio, and I am not a licensed real estate agent. So
Disclaimer.
yeah, be right back.
Annoying, frustrating.
Of course you're referring to me.
Some days, enlightening, engaging.
And now you're referring to yourself.
Most days. Just a few of the words employed to describe our show, The Motts. You'll come up with your own.
Hi, we're the Motts, Paul and Carol.
Inviting you to join us weekdays at 2 on Listen Up Talk Radio at talk-radio.ca. And there's an encore performance with Motts Weekend.
You can check us out at themotts.ca. Here's another word for you.
Oh, I wouldn't go there.
Hi, it's Paul Cavalcante, host of The Vinyl Experience, with a couple of magic numbers for you to remember. This is real simple. Are you ready? Here we go. 9 and 3. Every Sunday at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m., and for good measure, 3 a.m. on Monday. This is all Eastern Time. Your times for The Vinyl Experience.
So have you got your checkbook with you?
I'm ready.
You're ready.
What you got?
Would you like to own the former bunker of the Hells Angels? It was repossessed by the government through the proceeds of crime a few years ago, I think 2010. It's for sale.
Where?
On Eastern Avenue. And it's got these cool cement things so you can't drive a car up. And it's got bars all over the window. It's a really funky looking place.
That's neat. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
But I don't know how much it is. I think
Okay.
we need to check into that because
Okay.
that would be a cool place to just
Have a radio show.
have a radio show or a radio station, yeah.
Some of the other neat things. Okay, let's talk about Vancouver for a minute because their Toronto prices, I mean, we talked about it from $552 to $649 at its
Yep.
peak. Okay, Vancouver's average price is $760.
What?
So that's up 19%, 18.9% from a year earlier. Now, when we talk about their benchmark price, which basically says, compares detached to detached, detached homes soared 24.3% from December 2014 to December 2015.
Wow.
24%, 25%. They saw just over 42,000 homes sell, which was a 28% increase over 2014. So there's your demand.
Wow.
Yep.
How are they managing out there? How are you people managing? Let us know.
Yeah, please call us.
1-866-269-6155. Leave us a voicemail and let us know. And you can hear yourself on the radio. But how are you managing with these increases?
I'd love to know. And because what I'm finding right here locally is a lot of people who live here who haven't gotten into the real estate market yet cannot get into the market in 416 Toronto.
Yep.
It's really tough. I mean, they can. There's condo options, there's townhouses, semis, but if you have 3 kids or your lifestyle requires a certain living space, it is extremely difficult. Now, the cost of actually carrying the debt is actually not a whole lot more painful than it was, say, 10 years ago. It's coming up with that down payment.
That chunk of change.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, again, it used to be a very select group of the population that would help their kids with a down payment. And now it seems like it's everybody going back to mom and dad saying,
I see the
need some
parents
money.
helping so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parents are helping so much. So those of you out there whose kids aren't quite ready to buy, you better start saving because they're going to need your help.
Put that guilt away.
Now, I'll tell you, we've had this conversation a lot, and I'll say I had somebody come up to me recently. She has, a person, I don't know how old, but their kids are in their late 20s, early 30s, and she said, Ora, my kids will never be able to buy here. They could never afford it. And I said, I mean, you've got a single daughter. Why not have her find a friend? 2 friends, buddy up, buy a place, pitch in, get a little semi, fix it up. Maybe it won't be too nice. Fix it up. Wait a few years, sell it, and now you've started the process. And she looked at me and smiled and said, I can't convince them to do it. They don't want that. They want to live by themselves. They want modern. They want the stainless steel, the pot lights. So they're going to end up in their 400 square foot condo. And I can't stress it enough. At any time in history, to get into the real estate market is difficult. It's never been easy. That's why not every person owns their home.
And you know someone that did that, don't you? That bought a house with others.
Hey,
very young.
It's how my husband started. He bought the townhouse and he took the basement room.
Yeah.
And he still talks about the smell of cat when he purchased it. But he knew that if he took out the carpets and refinished the floors and painted, he could get rid of the smell.
Yeah.
Which he did in time,
Well,
But-
we do.
You know, I can't stress enough to people to start at step one. Step one is just get in, and it, you know, however you can get in, and if you
Start
can
young.
buddy up, definitely buddy up for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really interesting when we were doing our research in the Vancouver real estate market and how people were faring, because we were asking that question to each other this week. How are these people in Vancouver managing it? It's that deferring of the land, the property taxes that I thought was interesting. So, you know, the government put in place for a lot of seniors, especially, or people on fixed incomes, when their properties rose so quickly, their property taxes were going up so quickly, they couldn't afford to keep up with their property taxes. They're on fixed incomes. So the government came in and said, tell you what, we're going to allow people to defer their property taxes till the day they sell the home, and the day you sell your home, you're paying us back. They didn't put an age restriction. They didn't put an income restriction on it. So what do you think the real estate investors are doing in Vancouver?
Oh,
So they're
cool.
deferring. They can go 5, 6. I don't even know if there's a time limit.
But doesn't this have an impact on the government services? That's
Well,
a good cash cow.
You know, when I read up about this, I was blown away, and I'll have to keep looking deeper. And those of you out there that know more about this, again, call us, because we'd love to hear from you.
And are you doing this? Let us know if you're actually doing this, because it's a cool thing. I wish we could do it here.
I wish we could. I think it would be wise if it was limited, but they can't really limit it to three years, because then if your property tax is 6, then in 3 years you have to come up with 18, and chances are you can't.
No.
So it's really, you know, again, it was designed for our seniors who, you know, you're going to stay in your house, you're going to stay comfortable. The day you sell your home, your family will likely pay everything off for you.
Yeah, but let me play devil's advocate for a second, because that could add up, and that could be a nasty surprise when you sell thinking you've got $500,000 of equity.
Oh, yeah.
Whoopsie, we kind of forgot those property taxes that we hadn't been
You owe
paying.
400 out, yeah. But I do wonder how the government is managing without all that money. Because I'm going to find out how many people are actually using that program. I personally would just love to see us to what the U.S. has, and they get to write off the interest they pay on their mortgages. It becomes a write-off against their income.
Nice.
And that would be a beautiful thing. So you're getting ready for a move.
And my property taxes have doubled.
Oh, yes.
Moving out of the city
Yeah.
with fewer services,
Yeah.
and I'm paying more. So where's the extra going? Hello? I'm not going to say which region it is.
Well, it's fewer people paying into the pot, though, and it's quite a large piece of land.
When you think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
So they need a certain number for their operating budget.
We really shouldn't complain too much in Toronto about what's happening.
Twice weekly garbage pickup back in the day in North York. Twice weekly
I remember.
garbage pickup. Mondays and
Yay,
Thursdays.
Mel Lassman.
Yeah,
Hey,
hello,
we
Mel.
love Mel.
And the Army, anytime we got snow, the Army was out.
If Mel's listening, we'd love to get him on the show. Now, so here's another interesting stat going back to the Toronto market. You know, we know that there are roughly 45,000 realtors on the Toronto Real Estate Board. Just under 21,000 of them are actually marked as having sold one home, at least one home on MLS.
Yeah.
I'm going to just put a little disclaimer here, because we do have teams now in real estate, and oftentimes you'll have a team of 4 or 5 realtors, and only one realtor is taking credit for the sales on the team.
Okay.
So where this is saying, you know, 21,000 realtors out of 45 have sold at least one home. 25,000 realtors out of 45 have at least sold one home. We're probably talking about a number a little bit higher, because we do have a good amount of people on teams. You know.
And as we talked about too, there are a lot of agents that will just get registered as an agent to sell their own homes.
But that would show up as at least one sale. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. So on MLS, just over 25,000 people show up as selling at least one home. 8,800 people sold one home.
8,800 sold one home.
Yeah, and just under 5,000 sold 2.
Wow.
And when I take that to 6 homes, we've got just under 21,000 realtors selling 6 or less homes. So what it tells me is there's 4,000 realtors selling 7 homes and more. And it also, I kind of want to put it out there, because I know the assumption out there is that real estate agents make a ton of money. And it just kind of puts it into perspective that not every realtor is out there selling a ton of homes. nor do they have the experience, because we can see that we've got some just selling one in a year.
Right.
Which now puts you at equal to them as far as your experience.
I've sold you one.
There you go.
Still waiting for the check.
Yeah. And the other thing that I like to just talk about is that it's just funny. One of the big things I got all year was people saying, oh my gosh, you must love this market. Like, you must love it. You're a realtor. Your prices have gone up. You guys are making even more money.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, over my 27 years now in the business, I would love, and I'm sorry people out there, I would love to see our market just stay stable, around the same for about 2 years. I would love everyone to regroup. And not for me necessarily as a salesperson, for the people I know around me. It just feels like everything's speeding so fast out of control. People are into major spending. And I watch it happening, and I watch people get carried away. They buy that new place, and they struggle to get that new place, and they say, I can't pay another penny because, it's all I can afford. And I agree. I'm all about people, knowing their budget and sticking to it. And then, 2 to 3 months later, I go back and visit, and they've got the beautiful blinds and all the new appliances, and they had to go buy this carpet, and they had to buy that furniture, and I find out they put it all on their Visa card. And I would love to just, for my wish for 2016 is that everybody sort of just slow down for a minute, take a breath, look at their situation and figure out where or what they need to do just in case in a year from now, our show is talking about some pretty scary numbers.
Well, just before we go to our last break here, RBC is set to hike some mortgage rates starting Friday. I think it's in the CTV News right here. I think it's only 1/10%, but again...
And a tenth is... I don't want that to panic anyone and say I'm not going to buy.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's going now. It hasn't in a long time.
And we just saw the U.S. increase their mortgage rates.
So something to think about, folks.
Yeah.
Buy now.
Yeah.
We're here all weekend. We're going to take a short break. You're listening to realestatettoronto.com radio. Welcome back to The Wrap, realestatettoronto.com radio. And you have one more factoid to share with us from December. Well,
December we saw 85 homes sell for over $2 million in the Toronto Real Estate Board.
That is insane. 85.
Yeah,
We're almost up into the hundreds. We're close.
You know what I'm going to bring for you next week was the first time we broke 1 million. I'm going to pull that up. So yes, 85 sold for over 2 million. Still our largest group of home buyers. Our largest amount of the most popular price point is still sitting between $500,000 and $700,000. So that's the other thing with all this news about $1 million in land. You're buying a home, you're tearing it down for $1 million. I can't stress enough that there are pockets around our city, in the city, good neighborhoods, good schools, parks, close to TTC, where you can still buy a home for under $1 million. I mean, look at this. The largest group of buyers sat in the 500 to 700 range.
Yeah.
So we can still do it whether, you can go to the outskirts, you can go to the east or the west and use your GO trains, but there are still communities within our city that you can get something for $450, $550. It's not the Taj Mahal.
No,
but you can get in.
And we've talked about this before, but there are areas that are coming back, like Leslieville, Corktown. I mean,
huge.
5-10 years ago, you would have said, "Who wants to live in Leslieville or Corktown?" Because there were so many things working against them, but they've revitalized. They're incredible communities, funky restaurants, great stores.
I know. And can I tell you, some of the wisest investors, I think I've said this before on your show as well. Some of the wisest investors I've met in the last 3 years have gone into what you would consider to be the least attractive communities in our city, and they've bought up their real estate. And if they can buy 2 or 3 right beside each other, even better. And they're just sitting on it and they're waiting.
Yeah. Well, that's the music. We're on our way out. We'll see you right back here next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yes, have a great weekend and buy a house.